This is the third and last episode with Melvyn Lubega, the CEO Therapy.
In this episode, we discussed what business ideas did he failed, what's his morning routine, and what are his guilty habits, and many more tricky questions. Let's go for a deep discussion with Melvyn Lubega.
So, third and final episode with you, Melvyn.
No.
Oh, you sad?
Yeah, I'm so
Don't
uncomfortable.
cry.
And actually, it's a good place to cry, actually, because
Yeah,
this
it's
is like the CEO therapy,
Okay.
which
Cute,
is, you have, do you have some...
Kleenex there.
Kleenex.
Yeah.
I have.
You have Kleenex on the
Good.
table, everything on the table. Actually, yes, this we are trying to create like a safe place when we can talk about many things.
Yep.
So to begin, maybe what was like your biggest? I won't say mistake, but your biggest like mistake maybe,
Or thing you regret.
regret or mistake.
Yeah, I think my biggest regret was not backing myself, I think, early on. I think, when we raised our first amount of money, I didn't take money from my family because I was like, it's my mother's pension. It's like, and I was very reluctant to be like, family, like, hey, look, we're out here taking risk. I'm not going to like lose your money and now I get disowned from the family. And I think it's about saying like now in our fund, how do you back and bring friends in and how do you, because I regret not doing so. Especially because we're committing to build something for the rest of next
Big,
10 years,
yeah.
whatever, then you're building it big. And you want those around with you to share in the upside or in that journey with you. And yes, it's tumultuous. I mean, every journey is not linear. But I think it's just that point of like, I wish earlier on in the businesses I'd built that I'd brought in more of my family and friends as partners in the business as we were building. Because I think it's hard because like look, now it's a very big business. I can't be like, oh yeah guys, how about you take 5% and
Yeah,
give it to
now
my
it's
mom?
too late.
And like, it's like,
Too late. I have to come earlier.
Exactly. And so I think definitely it's something which I was reflecting on earlier. How do I bring, partners and friends along the journey as well?
But this is actually something that you need to convince them because like at the beginning, if they don't believe in you, you're like, believe in me. And if they don't,
And look, but you also want to give people the option to say
Yes.
they don't believe in you, right? So I mean, like,
That's
because
true.
I didn't say, Mom, whatever money you have, give it to me.
okay.
Yeah.
And then she
You
said,
never asked.
You know.
boy, I know you're my spawn, but actually there's a line.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And what was your happiest moment in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah. Oh man. So let me think about this one. I think, just after COVID, we obviously been remote for a long time. Everyone was locked up. And so we had a big gathering of the revenue org, the org which was a part of. It was like 600 of us where we came together and the first time post-COVID. And just like seeing everyone like, having steered the ship through COVID, because it was a tough time for all businesses, and even though in tech you did well, I think it was very tough because many of our customers were dying, and like it was really hard. And so just being able to see everyone come together and know we did it, and like just knowing that some of the early employees obviously now had like babies during COVID and so forth, and like actually seeing families starting to form from the family we created as a team, I think was really touching, because ultimately for me professionally, my goal is to create 100,000 sustainable jobs. And so, yes, across our businesses, we only have, just under 2,000. So we've got a very long way to go. But just seeing the early impact of the jobs we're creating, the impact we're having, I think was, for me, really, really proud, because the journey you've been on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
And do you have like a work-life balance or not?
Well, I think I do. I mean, it's all relative. I think, like, if you enjoy what you're doing, then work and life should blend, right? Because I really enjoy spending time with entrepreneurs and working with them and doing and so forth. And so from that perspective, like, I enjoy that side of it. And so, yes, it is work, but in the same vein, it's also something I'd be doing if I wasn't, like, commercially aligned to do so. So I think definitely from that perspective, I think I do have work-life balance. I mean, I'm a very big believer in, like, listening to one's body, practicing self-care. And so from that perspective, I do try to balance out. So my mother and I, we have this thing where, like, every week or 2 weeks we'll get a masseuse and then go for massages just to, like, gives a good chance to catch up as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's like also like listening to your body. I think what was definitely true, so during COVID. So go on our businesses in the education space, and we offer online training courses. And the most popular course, we thought was going to be like, remote working, how to work with digital teams at a distance or whatever it is. The most popular course during COVID was stress and anxiety awareness. I think often we think that, in business as entrepreneurs even, that, it's not okay to like, say you have issues, I'm struggling with this. And I think I'm very big on saying, listen to your body and just speak your truth. I think by being more human, I think you're able to build deeper connection with people, but also show up as your authentic self. And so for me, when it comes to work-life balance, it's about saying, look, I'm comfortable saying like, look, hey, I'm going to get my nails done now because, hey, that's self-care for me.
That's what I want right now. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. And what still surprises you when you do business in Africa?
Yeah. I think what surprises me is just the pockets of excellence, because now, as a VC fund, we're a Pan-African fund. And so I'm visiting countries and looking in markets I've never really spent lots of time in. And I mentioned earlier, for example, some of the investments we have like in Francophone Africa, where I didn't spend that much time in Francophone Africa prior. And just like constantly surprised by like, if it wasn't for me getting out of my comfort zone, I would never have actually been exposed to the innovation, some of these smart people that you're coming across. Because you think like, oh, everyone, I know everyone. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
Like, there's some young guy who isn't in those circles and is doing amazing work. And you're like, and for me, that is so encouraging and also humbling at the same time. So I enjoy that side of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
And another one, what would you tell to the younger Melvyn? What advice would you give him?
Put on sunblock, SPF 50. The African sun is hot. Take care of yourself. You can't reverse aging in that regard. Drink lots of water and sleep.
And sleep.
And sleep, very key.
And have a skincare routine, of course.
And so from that perspective, I think definitely just importance of self-care. I think often when you're young, I think you tell yourself like, it's okay if I don't do this, I don't do that or whatever. I think it adds up over the longer term. And so I think being very intentional about that, I think is important. But also in the same vein, tell yourself to I tell myself to not take myself not so seriously. I think nothing one ever does is really fatal. I think in the moment you'll be like, oh my gosh, like I missed the deadline or whatever. But like in the bigger scheme of life, I mean, yes, like, don't miss all the deadlines that come across your way. But I think you can create unnecessary stress by taking some things too seriously. I think it's about that perspective of saying like, look, focus on learning from whatever it is, whatever outcome that may be, win or learn. But in the same vein, just like, don't take it so seriously.
And do you have like a morning or a night routine?
Yeah.
Skincare, of course.
But that's what I was like, I'll give all the tips now. I mean, I was like,
everything now.
Everything. I was like, give me my hyaluronic acid out there, tell you what I do, and they're like, my mask. But no. I think, so I think I don't really have a set routine. I think there's some things I like to do, for example, in the morning, get up, do your workout, go to the gym or go for a run or something of that nature, and then get my day going. But it actually does depend, because I'm a very big believer in finding enough, like, listening to my body. And so I can work very late and I can also like go to sleep fairly early. Because I'm very big on like, hey, my body will tell me when I need to do what I need to do. I always say the biggest flex is being able to not set an alarm and to wake up. And so that's like that's about just listening to your body. Because when you're grinding, it also means you have to take care of your body to the point where you know that it will continue to function. So it doesn't just start malfunctioning along the way there.
And you talked about your parents in the previous episode. Yeah. What would be the kind of, the things, the value they transmitted to you that you cherish the most? Yeah,
I think definitely the love for community. I think my parents were very big on community and celebrating as a community and sharing with the communities. There's always something bigger than yourself. And I think it's something which, when you're young, you're like, I've got lots of aunties and uncles, or like always having parties at the house or whatever it is. But I think just that point of like community and being able to celebrate as a community has been so important when I think about the impact I want to have, because I know that I am part of something bigger than even just my immediate family.
Okay. Nice. And do you have like a guilty pleasure? Something weird that you're doing, you used to do.
Well,
that's sure.
My guilty pleasure is sparkling water and collecting sparkling water.
Oh, cool.
So I don't drink alcohol, and so like,
oh wow, I love that.
I've become a bit of like a bit of a sparkling water snob, as it were.
So do you do like tasting, like sparkling water tasting?
Yes, I do.
What is your best water?
The funny thing is, and this is where like people expose me, because like, so I'm in France, right?
San Pellegrino is the best, though.
See, this is the thing, right? So I've got, my wine rack in my house and my cellar's actually just got San Pellegrino's back at home.
Yes,
but actually, I won't lie. So obviously now it comes down to whether the big bubbles versus the small bubbles and the soft versus the hard
Yes,
ones, right?
yes.
And it's actually my favorite sparkling water is actually one that you only find in Poland,
Oh,
which is like really good, like
bring me one, please.
game changer. But we're in France now, and so for example, so you think about like a Badois versus a Perrier versus San Pellegrino. But I don't know. I do like me a Badois, and even though like it's not necessarily like the higher end one, I think it's just different.
Badois Rouge or
Well, no, the plain one.
the plain one?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like, I'm a simple guy. Like I like, bad and bougie, not quite there. And so for example, like small things like, sparkling water in glass versus like in plastic actually get different like profiles that stays differently. So when the nuance here, but I think often like, it's crazy because when I remember when I began working consulting, I was working with lots of Germans. And they used to drink lots of sparkling water, and I was like, how can you adulterate this natural thing of water? Like, it's so good naturally. Why are they putting bubbles into it? Now I'm the guy.
Bubble is life. Bubble is life.
So, I like my bubbles. And so that's probably like my guilty pleasure. And also just, I think, different regions of the world do it differently. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you order fruit cocktail juice. Depending on where you are, it's a different fruit cocktail.
Yeah,
Right? It's
kind of a surprise.
It's like, hey, what are we getting today? And so similar thing from that perspective.
Did you go to Ethiopia? I think yes. Addis.
Yes, I've been to Addis. Yes.
The Embo.
Yes.
It's great.
Exactly.
It's great.
Exactly.
It's salted but great.
Different. Exactly.
I
You'd
love
expect
it.
that. You're like, okay.
Yeah,
well,
you know, yeah.
When Addis, do it
Yes,
as Ethiopians do.
Embo. This is not sponsored.
Yeah, but we know what gift we can, send you if we
But if you're
for your
looking for
birthday or
a
whatever.
sponsorship opportunity, I'm available. Hashtag Melvyn.
Sparkling water tester. Un sommelier de l'eau.
Yeah.
Do you have like a final word, something that you want to share with us that you didn't, or just share your
I think
thought right
like
now?
ultimately, this particular podcast around African business, and I think often as Africans, we may discount how excellent we are. I've had the privilege of working in over 40 countries around the world, and the smartest people I've met, sadly, as Africans, our best export are our people. And I think we often discount because we didn't go to Chinese schools or work for this big tech company or this thing. We discount our experience and our ability to actually get things done. But I'll tell you time and time again, the smartest, sharpest, most hardworking guys I've come across have been Africans. And I think as we build and grow, I think one is how do we lift each other up and share those learnings. But also don't be afraid to say, hey, man, I see the work you're doing and you're doing it well. And not have that chip on our shoulder, or rather have that complex where we think that we aren't good enough because we haven't done X, Y, Z. And so I think we, one, are very privileged to live in a continent where there's amazing opportunities, but two, we also have the privilege of being able to execute at that level to capture those opportunities.
Mic drop.
Perfect conclusion.
Mic drop. Okay, Melvyn. Thank you so much. Really, thank you.
Melvyn.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much. No, much appreciated. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.